Gus. This is Gus. If anybody has read the book yet, he's grown. He's 12 now, so he's like a man. He's almost driving. He wants to anyway. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and I want to say a special thank you to my friend here, Tony McEwing, who came out of retirement just for this. So he retired recently in February, and I asked him to come and have this conversation with me, so I feel really special because I know that Tony would not drive out of the desert for miles and miles for just anyone. So thank you, Tony.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Tony and I sat next to each other in the newsroom for years and years and years, so I just would feel comfortable with. You're the most. I think you know me the most out of everybody, probably. But thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. And thank all of you for coming. I really appreciate it. And I know Maria appreciates it as well. You know, it was such an honor for her to ask me to come and join her in this at this event, because Maria and I, for those of you who know us, know that we've been so close for so many years. And like she said, when we were in the newsroom, it was kind of a running joke. If you saw me, you saw her. If you saw her, you saw me. And in fact, it was really more Maria's doing, because everywhere that Maria went, she would drag me along. Tony, we're going to sit over here now. No, we're going to sit over here now.
Yeah.
I mean, that really did happen. And we became very close. Neither of us knew, though, at the time that our friendship became so close, that we would end up living parallel lives, in a sense. About a year after Sean's diagnosis, I had a loved one as well who was diagnosed with cancer, and both of us ended up being primary caretakers, and both of us had to deal with the death of a loved one. So Maria and I became a source of support for each other, particularly at work, which made it a lot more difficult to handle caretaking duties. So it really is a pleasure for me to be here today. Hi, Phil. How are you? Bill Schumann, everybody. So we're just gonna have a conversation, and then we'll let you guys, ask any questions that you might have. Maria, why don't we, for those who may not know the story, why don't we just start from the beginning? When did you know that something was amiss with Sean?
It was really when we decided to go on this trip to Paris. His brothers had given Sean, his amazing brothers, which a couple of them are here, John and Tom, and Susan, my amazing sister-in-law. They gave Sean, each year, each brother will get a wonderful 50th birthday present. And so Sean, for his 50th, got a trip. Actually, I got an amazing trip. They gifted us my microphone and necklace. Okay. So they gifted us a fabulous trip to Paris. And Gus was 3 years old at the time. And we thought, it was time to go away together. We literally had not been away together without Gus since he was born. And so we both had never been to Paris, and it was this dream vacation that we had been just looking forward to. And so we worked kind of opposite schedules. I worked early in the morning, and Sean would often write till overnight. And so we were always kind of ships in the night. And so it was on this trip that I noticed all of these little things like forgetfulness that was beyond the normal forgetfulness. He would forget his phone when I asked him to bring the phone, because we would get lost in the museums. He was a guy who lived in New York for years, and for some reason he could not hail a cab. He couldn't remember how to hail a cab. And I think that was really the day where I really stopped, and I think I cried, because I couldn't understand why he couldn't hail a cab for us that day. And it got kind of worse each day we were in Paris. And I remember the last day I said, you have to see a doctor when we get back, because something is going on with you. I don't know what it is. And he even acknowledged it. And so he didn't get up and work out. He used to work out and write for hours before even I got up. And so he didn't want to do any of that. He just wanted to sleep, and that just was not like him. And so by the time we got back, I remember we called his brother John right away. We said, we want the best doctor, please. John always knew people. And so we called John's doctor, and it took about a week to get an appointment. And then he got an MRI. He got from one doctor, recommended another doctor, and then exactly 2 weeks from the day we landed from Paris, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is the most aggressive form of brain cancer. And we saw the tumors on the screen in the doctor's office, and I just remember how our lives were just turned upside down that day. And so that was really the day.
And then you had the extra complexity of Gus, who was so much younger than that.
Yeah, he was 3. And so I remember the doctor saying, this is what it is. It was very clinical. And then they said, do you have children? And then that was when I said, oh no, this doesn't sound good. And we said, yeah, we have a 3-year-old. And they just there was just this change in their face. And they said, there's been people who have lived 8 years with this, 10 years. And so that could be you. That could be you. And so that was the beginning of our hope that we would be the ones that would be the exception to the rule.
And of course, what I would wonder, certainly in a situation like that, is how you even handle that, particularly when you have a young child.
Oh gosh. Well, we went through all we got really angry. We got mad at God. But we have a very strong faith, and Sean particularly, who was actually quite religious, and I always took his lead, and we would get angry, and we swore at God, and then we would say, look at Gus, we've got to fight. We're going to beat this. And so we immediately, his brothers came to the house within, I think, an hour of this phone call or our visit at the hospital. And they all gathered at the house, and we just kind of pulled the troops in, and we went to work. We went to work, and we went to fight, and we went and saw every doctor and got every clinical trial, every kind of diet that you could possibly have, and we had him for 18 months. And we had so much fun. We had so much fun. We haven't done this yet together, so this is our first time. Oh, I love you so much. Anyway, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you because we have fought for Daddy. We keep the fight going, and this is part of the reason why I wrote the book. Because we ask those questions of why. Why us? Why him? He's so strong. He was so healthy. He worked out every day. And this disease can get anyone, whether you're a young baby or an adult, whether you're white, brown, black. Glioblastoma doesn't discriminate. And so there is no cure. And so we said, thank you guys. We said, well, there's got to be a reason why. I wear a microphone every day. You're a writer, Sean. And so I think we have to talk about this. You have to write a movie. I said, you've got to make a movie or something. We don't really see movies about brain cancer or glioblastoma. And so we thought, well, maybe this is part of our purpose. And so we made a promise to each other that we would write a story, write a book. And he was supposed to write it because I'm not a writer. I just talk for a living. So I was really mad at him. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I would ask him every day, please help me write this. And I think that's what he did. And I feel him every day. And I felt him through writing this book.
There must have been a cathartic part of it all with writing a lot of discovery on your part.
It was difficult to go back, and I think a lot of people who are caregivers for someone with brain cancer, they tend to not look back after their loved ones pass away. I think they keep going, and it is such a painful time that for me it was cathartic, yes, but it was very painful. But I just keep thinking about all the people we could maybe help with sharing our story and maybe inspire someone to find a cure. You know, some young person to go and really do the research and really find a cure, because there hasn't been any advancement in this disease. It's the least funded disease, one of, for sure, if not the least funded disease, because it's so hard to do research on the brain. It's very difficult to break that blood-brain barrier. And so there's very few advancements even in just the standard of treatment that goes into brain cancer.
You know, you titled the book, You Can't Do It Alone. That support is so critical.
It is. Listen, there's a support group at UCLA. You know, there are support groups for cancer patients, for caregivers, and it's usually just for anyone with cancer. And every cancer is bad, don't get me wrong. But there's a specific support group for caregivers just for brain cancer patients. It is that specific, and it is that different and that difficult. And it was at UCLA that I met a group of people. One of them is here today, Otto, whose wife passed away. There's Otto. He is, I think you coined the term samurai, and I do write about this in the book. And we still talk all the time. We see each other. They carried me through those difficult times, and they were my lampposts, because it's strange how it worked out. Their spouses passed away one by one, starting in January, and with Sean passing away in December. So I felt like those months, really, it was a little over a year, we were together every other month. And without them, I think the road would have been even darker. So there's no way I could have done it alone. I have my entire family, particularly Sean's family, who really was there for me every step of the way, and still are, and they're here. I love them so much. And my friends, Tony, my friends are here as well. And my TV friends, my viewers who still consistently send me such supportive messages. My son's friends and their parents who are here today as well. And I'm so grateful for everyone, honestly.
It's got to be frustrating and scary when you're in a situation that you found yourself in where you can't just take control of the situation because there is no control. You can't control that.
There is no control. Well, that's what everyone discovers.
So
right?
how do you do?
There is some control.
How do you do that?
You can control how you live. You can control how you react to the disease and what you do. And so I looked at that as Sean and I deciding how we were going to move forward with Gus. We immediately got a therapist and a counselor who we still talk to all the time. And we were able to communicate with each other on what expectations were. And I really think that our relationship got so much closer. And I didn't know how much you love a person. But we really just discovered a new level of love that I think, I don't know if I would have reached that if we hadn't gotten that diagnosis. I really don't know. But our love just grew and evolved into a place that I miss it every day. Every day.
What do you think is one of the most important things you've learned about yourself through this process and writing this book and what you hope others will learn?
I've learned so much. I learn something every day, actually, still. I think I'm definitely stronger than I thought I was, and I thought I was pretty strong actually to begin with. But I'm hella strong. I really do feel that nothing really bothers me anymore. Um, somebody ran into me and sued me, and I'm like, okay, all right, we gotta go to court. All right. Susan, I know what you're thinking. I was not negligent. And I actually, yes, I won that case.
So that sounds like that you've learned perspective.
I've learned perspective, definitely. I've also learned the power of love from your family and your friends. It's so strong. It's unbreakable. I've learned that you can be happy and sad at the same time. I've learned that that's actually possible. Like right now, I'm so happy. I know you can't tell, but I am so happy right now. I'm ecstatic. I mean, Gus is here with me. He's so grown up and so mature. My family, my friends are here. The book is out officially, and I'm so happy, but I'm so sad too because I'm not here to physically share it with Sean, but I know that he's also here.
Yeah.
I feel him all the time, and so I know that he's here.
One of the things that I saw, particularly with Gus, is how much he stepped up.
Oh yes.
I remember going to the funeral and watching them watching the procession at the end of the service, and I saw Gus following behind his father's casket, and he was so grown up. I mean, he was very young at the time, but I could tell. Yeah, I could tell that he's going to grow up really fast, and he's going to be a great source of strength and support.
And he says he's going to be a really great basketball player. He's wearing his mellows. I think he's just a mellows. Right?
The other thing that I admire about you, Maria, in all of this is that despite the loss of Sean, you really have taken every single opportunity that you can to celebrate what an incredible and wonderful person that he was, and that you still carry him with you everywhere.
Listen, if you know Sean, he has the biggest laugh and the biggest personality, so it's impossible to keep him down. He is very loud in my mind, in our home. He makes himself known all the time. I could tell you story after story of how a song will come on from Bruce at the most unexpected time, or a quote, or someone from the past that is connected to Sean that will out of the blue call me and tell me a story or share something about him. So I know that he is around. And I made him promise. I said, before he died, I said, you better haunt me. You better just stick around. And so he does. I mean, Gus comes running into my room sometimes and he'll say, Mommy, the light just came on for no reason. And I said, you see, you should have gone to bed. Daddy's telling you better go to bed. Put that phone down.
So for people who read the book, what are you hoping that they get out of it?
I hope that they see that, well, how wonderful Sean was, of course. And gosh, that's a good question, Tony. So many things. I hope they can take something from it, whether it's how important family is, really, because, man, our family came in clutch. And it's important to really cherish each other that way. And life can change on a dime. I mean, Sean was the last person I would have thought ever to have a disease like this. He was so healthy. you really watched what he ate, and not so much ate. I know, he ate hot dogs and stuff, but he tried. He tried, but he did. He yoga, exercised all the time, and he prayed. We prayed all the time. He certainly did. He really was amazing like that. I hope that someone can read this book and have it help them in some way, whether it's you experiencing a loss or maybe studying and getting in the research, getting in the thick of it and finding a cure or find this disease. Be more empathetic to those who are suffering through a challenge like this disease. All those things.
Because the fact of the matter is, we all have stories.
We do.
We all have stories, and you never ever know really what someone is going to do.
Yeah, people used to ask me, how do you smile every day? How do you go into work and do what you do?
And I saw that, by the way. I was sitting there right next to you, so I saw that smile, and I saw your resilience, and I saw your strength.
Tony, you were right there with me. You and I mean, Tony, sometimes I would come and sit down at the desk, and Tony would just hold my hand, and he wouldn't say anything. He would just hold my hand, and he just knew. He just knew it was one of those tougher days. And inevitably, you'd make me laugh. And then the day would go on. And, somehow I would put it away for a few moments. And I think it saved me, actually, going to work every day. As much as I didn't want to, it did. It did save me. It still does today. Really. As much as I don't want to get up at 3 a.m. anymore.
Who does?
you definitely are enjoying it now. But yes, that's. I just hope that you can get that from the book and share it and. Yeah, let's find a cure, huh? I really want that. I don't want any other family to go through that. It was difficult, to say the least.
Is there anything else you want to cover that you think we haven't covered?
Oh gosh, I'll probably think of it as I'm driving home. I just want to thank everybody that's here today. I love you all for all the support that you've given me. I see so many familiar faces. I think even from online, my work family that's here, my friends, Sean's friends that live in Arizona. They live out of state now. Came from Iowa Falls as well. Yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for coming.
And we want to open it up for questions now. So if you have any questions or any comments that you want to impart, feel free. Anyone?
Yes, hey, Tony. Well, first I hope that you enjoy May Mountain. All right, congratulations. Sorry for your loss, Maria. And my name is Moises. Congratulations, right? Congratulations. And the way that you managed that situation and that you were able to identify in every stage how to get help or assistance because you identify or you realize that you cannot do it alone. And congratulations on the friends and family that you that really make a difference. Identifying that clearly enough helps the little kids for the future. Right? So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Unfortunately, I think some people who find themselves in this situation will try to do exactly what you advise them not to do, and that is to try to take it all upon themselves.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you for bringing that back to that. I titled the book, You Can't Do It Alone. As a woman, as who I am, I consider myself very strong and I can do myself. I don't need anyone's help. And we tend to do that as women as well. But I tell you, you have to ask for it because people want to help. People really do. And when you ask and when you're specific about it, I think people will be there for you. So keep asking. If you don't get the right help or the right answer, just ask. We're not meant to do this alone. And I think there's such fulfillment, like it's fulfilling to help someone else. And so for all the people who helped me, thank you. From the lunches, dinners that were sent from Gus's school, the moms that helped, my family who stepped up and said, I got this book, Maria, about brain cancer. And I'm like, I don't have time to read it. And they go, we're reading. We're going to read it. We're going to give you a summary. I mean, like things like that. Or making copies that give me all the paperwork. I'm going to make copies right now. We're going to send it to all the doctors. I didn't have time to do that. She did that. Gus's cousins would come over. Can I play for an hour with Gus? And, yes, Julia, thank you. And they would play with Gus for an hour outside and just run around and those little things. I'm gonna get groceries for you, and they would come with toilet paper and paper towels and just things that I would need. And it was just it's amazing. It's amazing.
Anyone else? Sure.
Hi. Thank you, Maria. I'm a follower, Tony. My sister recently passed away, and she had stage 4 lung cancer, and she was the same way. She was she was like you say of your husband. She was the last person you would have ever thought that would succumb to an illness, and sure enough, 2 years after she was diagnosed, she passed away. My husband, my brother-in-law may not be somebody that is a reader or listens to audiobooks. How could I help him in that situation? What do you think of? What's your recommendations? How do you help somebody who may not be willing to pick up or is able to pick up this book? What's your best approach?
Oh gosh. Yeah, everyone grieves differently and everyone has their own process. And you can just, for me, there were some people who didn't know what to say and they wouldn't say anything. They would just be around. And I think just that in and of itself was helpful. I didn't necessarily have them do anything. They were just around. They would just pop by and say hi and sit there and watch TV with me or with Sean at the time. They didn't say anything. Sometimes just your presence was really appreciated. That's all.
Thank you.
Even if the person that you are actually attending to isn't able to express it.
Right, yeah. Sometimes just sitting there with them is perfect.
I was curious if you went through any grief counseling.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I still do. In fact, Betsy, our counselor, was supposed to come tonight, but she was called away. I think everybody should have a counselor.
Was it a group or individual?
You know what? I still talk to my support group from UCLA, this very core group of people that helped me through the darkest times. We still get together and we still talk about, we don't necessarily talk about glioblastoma anymore. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we talk about grandkids. Sometimes we talk about new loves, new adventures, and that's good too. So yes, however way you can get just that fellowship or community is important, and I get that. I get a lot of it, and I'm so grateful for that. Through my counselor, through my core group of my support group, my friends that get together with me and check in on me. My church, we belong to a fantastic church, and I have good relationships with our priests and the community and the school that my son goes to. So yeah, surround yourself with people. You can't do it alone. You need to be around people. Yeah.
What would you say were some of the most important or valuable things that you got from the therapists?
Oh gosh. Oh, from day one. Thank you, Phil, for that question. From day one, it was how to speak to Gus about the diagnosis. And I think that was really the key for me, was how to navigate talking about these big subjects and big life changes with a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and now a 12-year-old. And the advice she gave us was phenomenal, from talking about the disease and telling us exactly what it was. We were not hiding it. So he knew from day one that Daddy came home and was diagnosed with a disease called brain cancer. He was not sick. We never used the word sick. We just always said, it's the cancer, it's the chemo, it's that. And Gus was very helpful. He helped us give Daddy IVs. He would help kind of close up the little, now I've forgotten all the terms,
Port.
Yeah, the port, thank you. Clean up Daddy's vest. He's, my Daddy threw up on it. He threw up over the, and so we would like, okay, let's go, let's clean it up. And so it was a lot of that and how to talk. And I think Gus is really well adjusted. You're pretty. He's pretty well adjusted kid. I'm really proud of him.
Good job, kid.
His dad was also, one of the things the therapist said was write something for Gus. And so we're so fortunate that Sean actually met our therapist with Gus and with me. She said a lot of times she doesn't get the kids or the family until after they've passed away. And so it was kind of a gift in the sense that she actually met all 3 of us and early on. And so she talked about how Sean should write a book for Gus. So he did. He actually left a guidebook of sorts for Gus, and he will go to it sometimes. And we just went to it recently, didn't we? It was about bullying and something that was going on in school, and it was amazing. Like, I hadn't picked up the book in a while, but it was so on point about what Gus is going through right now. So he wrote this book, and it was categorized in age groups, and so he has that for him. And that was one of the things that the therapist had suggested. And it's just the language we would use to talk about things. And I still call her, Betsy, something's going on at school. What can I do? What can I say? With Gus. And so yeah, so she's really our life coach. She's a life coach, and Gus has a basketball coach, and we also have a life coach. He has a doctor coach. He has a dentist. I'll call him a coach too. But yeah, we have coaches in our lives. So yeah, she's been amazing.
I don't have a question, Ms. Quiban. I just want to say that I think that's so great that you didn't use the word, that was sick, because we all get sick. So that was kind of nice that you used it. You said cancer.
Yes, we did. We talked about cancer. We also talked about dying. We talked about death, and we talked about that with Gus early on. So he understood what happens when someone dies at 5, at 4. We talked about that in his, of course, at his age range, and so he knew what happens, and your heart stops, and you stop breathing, and that's when your body dies. But he's with us. When we talk about, of course, our faith, and so we have a very strong faith, and we believe in heaven and God, and so we know that Sean's spirit is with us in heaven, and we'll see him again when it's our time, but not now. we have long lives to live still, and Sean made sure that we know that, and so we are living our best lives. And he made me promise him that. He said that you have to live your best life with us. You have a long life, and I'll see you later. And so I'm keeping my promise, and we're living our best lives. We really are, aren't we, Gus? We get to do so many things, and we're so lucky. We're blessed. We're really blessed.
When did you start writing the book?
What started the book process was Sean has a really good friend named Tom Fontana, and a year on Sean's 1-year anniversary of his death, I actually received this big leather-bound book, and I was surprised, and I thought, what is this? This is beautiful. And I started opening the book to the pages of all of these emails that I had sent during those 18 months. And I would send an email to our friends and family. That was a way for me to communicate with them what was going on, what was the latest with employment. Here's what I need, and inevitably people will come in and after each email and help however way they could. By the way, I have to give credit to Katie. Katie's here, who is one of those people who had a tumor and is living amazingly for years and years and years. So she is a testament to hope, that there is hope that you can survive and live and thrive with this diagnosis. Anyway, Katie was one of the first people that I talked to after his diagnosis. She gave me a list of to do, boom, 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 boom. And man, she was like, this, do this, do this. And I heard her and I listened and I got a therapist. I put on the playlist, all these comedies. She said, laugh, you need to laugh. And we did a lot of that. And so I credit you for that. Me just getting to work, and she really inspired me to do that. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
When did you start writing?
Oh, when did I start writing? So Tom sends me this book of all these emails, and it just sparked the promise that I had made to Sean and he to me about sharing our story. And I said, oh my gosh, I need to write this book. And I think I saw Phil Schumann like the next day at work. He goes, Maria, I've been thinking, I think you need to write a book. And here's a treatment. He wrote like this thing. He wrote all the chapter headings and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this is great. And so I have a lot of help. I mean, I have angels around me. And so it was that book from Tom and Phil kind of nudging me along, and I just sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to write this. And I talked to Sean and I said, help me, I'm not a writer. And so I did. And it took about, I want to say 2.5 years. It took 2.5 years to write the book from the time I started writing to the time I got the first draft.
There were some discussions about titles, right?
And there were some discussions about
You
title.
wanted some things the publisher wanted.
Yeah, the publisher got in on it, and it was supposed to be overcast skies or clearing or something. There was a little weather twist to it. Of course. But the publisher thought that after reading the book, they all decided that it should be, you can't do it alone. And I bucked it at first, and then I realized they were right. And when the book was published in 2020, we were in the midst of the pandemic. And that was a phrase that was thrown around a lot. It still is, but back then. And it was so timely and poignant. And I thought it came at a good time. And I couldn't have a proper book event and signing because of the pandemic. So this is another reason why I'm so happy. This is so special, because this one is in a bookshop. And it's an in-person event, and I'm so happy and grateful that we're finally here. Yeah.
I wish your book was out sooner. A couple of years ago, I lost my mom. She had some rare type of cancer as well, and it kind of changed the molecular structure of her heart. I can't think of the name of it. So they didn't tell us what was wrong with her, so we didn't know what to do. All we knew was, she would be treated for some things, and it seemed like she would be treated for more. But I guess at some point it was nothing that they could do. But I felt, because even though I have siblings and nothing against anyone else, but I felt like I was alone trying to help. My dad had passed before me. So it was kind of a double thing. And it's really hard when you have to do it yourself. But I'm going to get the book. Hopefully that'll
They have some.
that'll be a guideline for the future. And I just want to say too to Tony, I didn't know you lost a loved one, so I wanted to say to you as well. And I know you guys are talking Tony outside from just different events, and it takes a soul. One day before your husband passed, and I was getting autographs and taking pictures of you guys, and I asked you, how was your husband? And you had like a shocked look on your face, and I almost felt bad instantly, because I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't have asked.
No.
But no, I know, but you must have saw it. You grabbed me, thanked me for asking. he said he's okay. So, and I don't think anybody else around had even thought anything. So I'm glad I asked you, because after I felt comfortable, I felt that you were appreciating me asking. So,
I do appreciate it. People sometimes feel bad asking me about Sean or how I'm doing, but it does make me sad because I miss him, but it makes me so happy when you ask. It makes me so happy when you share a story about Sean. It really does. And just sending the email this time, letting everybody know about this event, I got a couple more emails about stories about Sean that I hadn't heard before. And I'm so appreciative, and I can't wait to share it with Gus. He's gonna get a kick out of it. Yeah, we're going back to Iowa Falls this summer, and I'm gonna read him that note and revisit the areas where this person shared a story of where they would hang out after games, and yeah, so fun.
I have a comment and a question. My first comment is that I'm a long time. I've been watching you guys since I was in high school, getting ready for high school, which was just yesterday.
Me too. That was when I started. Yeah.
But I wanted to take the time to say, first of all, thank you. I think your book is a gift to the community, to us, because like you said, you guys, it takes a lot for you to get up every day, have to do your job, come give us the news and the weather and all that, but then to be so open, not only on TV, but on social media, invite us into your life. I feel like all of us feel like Gus is aunties because we watched him grow up. We watched him go up, and it's so proud. We're so proud to see him. The young gentleman that he is, and Phil and Tony and just everybody. It takes a lot, and we appreciate. I know I appreciate your book as a gift to us, because even if we may not be going through something right now, we may in the future, or even someone close to us. So that was my first comment. Thank you to everyone here that opens their lives up and become that open book for the viewers, for the the people in the community to be a part of. And the second is, as that being your gift to us, what can we do to help you accomplish your goal and your promise to Sean, to get more visibility into this disease, or get more, yeah, we can buy the book and just go, let's all walk and give it out, right? But what would, if you could ask one thing of your friends and family and viewers, what would you ask of us as a gift to you?
Oh, thank you. One is to fund research. That's really important to me. I'd really like to see in my lifetime something. There's been nothing in the last 70 years. I want to say the standard of treatment has been the same. You immediately get radiation, chemotherapy, and then some clinical trial, and then good luck to you. There's just been nothing that's been advanced, really. There's a cap, there's like a nouveau cap that they've come up with, and they're hard at work, these doctors, but there's Bob Cook. Hi, Bob. Bob is my general manager. So yeah, I want to continue the conversation. Let's keep talking about brain cancer and glioblastoma. There was a team of people who went up to Washington, D.C. just 2 weeks ago. May is Brain Cancer Awareness Month. And I was talking to them the other day at St. John's. I really want to be a part of that. I really want to be a part of this bigger voice to help change legislation and take care of caregivers. Caregivers are so paramount, and so the things that the caregiver has to go through, in addition to having to earn a living to care for the family. We just did a story today about some cancer patient who was denied coverage for some important treatment that they needed for cancer. We have to go that route. We need more funding for research. We need to change our medical. That's a whole nother conversation, I know, but let's do our part, and let's start with brain cancer. Let's start with funding research. If you see it on the news, if you're donating to charities, please try to donate some of it to brain cancer. That would be amazing.
There's a place at UCLA, which is where Sean was a patient, called Heart of the Brain. All the money goes towards brain cancer research, and there's some people that do some really amazing things for brain cancer specifically. So I would recommend Heart of the Brain, their website, and donate. They do a fundraiser every year, but that's what I would recommend.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll try to update my website and put some new organizations that are also doing it. Someone else have those?
Anyone else?
I have one more question. I don't know if you addressed this, but how did you meet?
Sean?
Yeah.
I love that question. Thank you. I love that. People ask me that, and I love that question. I met Sean with his entire family. I think it was I met him on his brother Tom's birthday. And my colleague at the time was dating one of his brothers. There were 6 of them. There's 6 boys. Their parents are amazing to raise. They come from an Irish family, Irish-German family. Grew up in the Midwest, and they all moved here somewhere. Well, except for one. One is in New York. But anyway, my colleague at the time was dating one of Sean's brothers, and they were having a dinner party at their house. And they invited me, and I said, I don't want to go. There's all these couples that are going to be there. And little did I know that I think she was trying to do a little setup because Sean was single and I was single. And I said, but I don't want to go. It's all these couples, you know. And John Beard, who was one of our anchors at the time, walks into the makeup room and I didn't know. He goes, what's going on? What's happening? Where are we going? And Lauren said, we're going to dinner tomorrow night. What are you doing? Let's go. And so I went to this dinner with John, and at the end of the night, we were ready to go, actually, ready to leave. And Patrick says, oh, my brothers are coming over, by the way. It's Tom's birthday. And so I hear this loud voice that I knew was Sean. He was the loudest. He's so loud. They're all loud. They're all so loud. But he just, I don't know. He made a beeline right to me. He's like, hi, I'm Sean Whitesell. You must be the weather person. And so he was trying to be charming, you know, I don't know. But Bruce Springsteen was playing in the background, and yeah, we just hit it off. And what was amazing about that night is I met practically his entire family at the same time. And so it was a fun night. And yeah, he asked for my number the next day. And Patrick's like, be cool, man. Call her next week. Call her next week. Then we had Gus. A few years later. Yeah.
I love your story, and I would love to know, how are you doing now? What's your life look like?
What does my life look like now? Well, I'm still waking up at 3 a.m. You know, we are living our best lives. We are trying to live up to the promise that I made Sean, and that was that Gus and I were going to have a great time. We were going to try to live and make memories and make him proud. Let's see, I started dating. It took me about 5.5 years ago. And a friend of a friend of a friend introduced me to someone. And so he's here. It is. He's a photographer. It's good to have a photographer around, you know, for those Instagram people. He's a professional photographer. And, you know, I talk to Sean every day. And so far, he hasn't kicked you out. And Gus likes him a lot. And yeah, and we've had dinners with each brother, who are my brothers really, and their wives. And I think he passed the test. So yeah, I've opened my heart out, and it's in the book. You'll read about it. It's fun, that part. And like I said early on, I've learned that you can be happy and sad at the same time, and it's okay. And I do get those days. But I have a really strong circle around me, and they support me. And when I get those days, they're right there.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
That you get those days.
And I get those days. Yeah, we get those days. Gus and I get those days sometimes, don't we? Yeah, but we talk about it, and then we're like, yeah, okay, let's go to the game. Let's go, yeah.
Well, thank you for telling your story. I mean, we're all so appreciative. I'm a viewer as well. When I was 13, I lived here in LA, and my stepfather passed away from a freak accident at 33. And so my mom and my sister and I, we had to move from LA back to Atlanta, where we were from, where we have family, because we didn't have family out here. So when someone passes away, you're not just mourning the person and missing the person, but you're also mourning your life that you had before. I loved my life here as a kid. I was just starting to meet a guy, little kid. I followed him around to school, and he finally gave me a card on the last day of school with little hearts on it. He knew who I was. I didn't, and I had to leave. We had to move away and go back to Atlanta. And so for that first year when I was in Atlanta, I said, I don't want to have fun. I'm not going to do anything. And, I was just so sad and mourning that life that I had, not just the person, my stepfather, but that life that we had out here. And so when I came back for 9th grade graduation, that boy that I loved had moved on to another girl that I met, and I liked her, and I was like, no. So I went back to Atlanta and said, I'm going to have a good time now. This is time for me to live, forget him. And he and I are still best friends. For years, But I guess what I noticed was that you had those, 18 months to make memories and to have Sean with you. You all went on vacations and did things.
We did.
Can you tell me like a memory or something really fun that you all did that you might not have done otherwise?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you asked me what advice I can give everybody. I was the annoying person that was constantly taking photos and videos, but we look back on it now, and I'm so grateful for those. So do it. Take that photo, take that video, because later on you're just gonna look back on that and wow, you're just so appreciative. We would go to concerts. We went to a couple concerts where I was filming us, and the people were like, "What are you doing? Just give me a minute. I'm just gonna record this." And I'm so thankful for that now because it was such a great memory. And gosh, we did a lot of things. I'm so grateful for my job because they let me out of work for a few weeks, and we were able to go to Hawaii. We went to New York, and Hawaii was one of my most favorite memories with Gus and Sean. And we went kayaking, and we went around the island. We went fishing. We went to Lake Casitas, and we went fishing with Gus, and Disneyland and Legoland. So we have all these memories that Gus will have to look back on it, and it's really fun. We look back on it sometimes still. So I encourage you to do that because you never ever know. Sometimes life prepares you for what's to come, and I lost my birth father when I was 7, and I never knew how that would impact me so much until Sean, because I knew I didn't want Gus to feel that way. I was terrified when my dad died when I was 7. So I didn't want that for Gus, and both Sean and I didn't want that for him. And so we really made special effort to communicate with him, and that was one of the reasons why we're so grateful for our therapist, our counselor, for walking us through that. So encourage you to document your life. It's really fun to look back on that. And I just want to touch on one thing you said about mourning that life that you had. I've learned also, Tony, that I'm mourning now for the life I thought we were gonna have. So there was, it happens all the time actually with Gus, that he will have a great game. And I just sit there for a second and go, oh, it just hits me like a ton of bricks. Like, Sean was supposed to be here watching him do this. This is the life that he had envisioned for us. And so I continuously have those days and moments and our whole family together and dinner. And I just recall how that was what we wanted for ourselves. So I continue to mourn the life we were supposed to have, not just the life we had. And so that's why this is forever. I mean, I think it was, David Kessler, I think that's his name. He's a well-known grief writer, who asked this question of him. Someone asked of him, like, how long does this last? How long are we going to grieve like this? And he goes, well, how long is your loved one going to be dead? So yeah, this is going to be forever. But we learn to live with it, and we choose joy. We choose to make memories. We choose to live life to the fullest.
And everyone's different in terms of how they progress and how you deal with it.
Yeah, but we need little reminders, so I appreciate the reminders. Hi. No,
Question. So for people out there that might be struggling, and I think sometimes as humans, it's hard. And you shared how tough you are and how strong you are to ask for help or to say like, today I'm having a bad day. Today I can't go to work. Today I can't be bothered. But I think sometimes we struggle with that vocabulary.
Yes,
What do you say around that? What do you recommend?
it's tough. You just have to be honest, and it is hard sometimes. Innes is great like this. Like I will have a day, and he'll notice right away that something's going on with me, and he'll say, "Are you okay?"
Mm.
He gives me the space to miss Sean.
And the permission,
Yeah,
comfortability.
it's okay. And if you move on and find your person, another person, they have to be good with that. They have to know that they are a part of our lives forever. And I think he said something to me the other day, and I'm sorry that I'm putting this out there, but he said, just make a little space for me in your heart, and I'm good with that. And that's really nice. That's all you can ask for, So I appreciate that.
It's okay for people to say like it's hard.
It's hard.
Even if it's that simple, right?
Yeah. You just say it. You say, I'm having a hard time. I think I said that the other day. I think we had a big family get together, and it was hard for me. I missed Sean more than ever, and I think I told him. He's like, that's okay. That's okay. And you know what? It feels better actually to say it. Once you say it, it's like, yeah.
Actually, I really appreciated your talk. Because my husband, when you said that he was healthy, my husband was healthy because he was like 20 years older than Sean. But it just hits you. You just don't think a healthy person, and it's happening to me. You always think it's going to happen to somebody else, and then we have to deal with it. And what the oncologist told me, go out and do everything that you do normally, and we did. And people didn't know. Like 2 weeks, I think it was a week before he passed. Somebody saw him at the hearing center. Says, "What are you guys doing now?" I said, "He can walk." I mean, I went to the gym every morning, and as long as he was able to get up and do all that, but my kids all came home, and it was the last week, and it was the last 2 days when it got bad. And the other thing is, when people say hospice, I really didn't understand what it meant.
Yeah.
And you know what it means, and I did it at home. And I did the whole thing at home, and it's not bad because I've had some friends that also were, they have lost their spouses, and let's see, but one wasn't cancer, but he was just like having organ failure a whole year, and it was one thing led to the other, and it's also important. It's like you said, there's never one size fits all.
No.
We all still grieve in different ways, and I know your son is young, but what's happening to me now is 2 of my kids are getting married, and some people said, "Well, he's not going to be there." I said, "Well, I have permission. I'm going to have his picture in the chair next to me."
Good for you.
And I
Yes.
asked. And I was also told to put together a slideshow. And my future daughter-in-law, one of them requested, she says, "I want parents, wedding pictures, grandparents." I got down to great-grandparents, even my great-grandparents. And as I was looking at them, I said, "Gee, you look at them. I'm the only one in those pictures that is still living." So I think that kind of hits you, a little bit. No, he's going to be at the wedding.
Yeah,
He's
that's
going to be a
right.
chair right next to
That's
me.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right.
That's right. I love that you made the choice to do that. We have to be our own advocates, you guys. I did learn that. I mean, you have to be that pain in the ass to the doctors. Like I really was. I was right there. Like, what's going on? What can we do? You really got to be there for your loved one because they can't do it.
She
Obviously.
did it with me too.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Tony was in the hospital.
I
Yes.
sat there.
I said, "What's happening here? Tony needs an IV. What is going on? He's dehydrated."
so many people died from treatment that they did not die from the cancer. They died because of the, you know, how their body could react to that. So my husband had a reaction to something and they found out he had obstruction. Every day that he was in the hospital, I did not go in the morning. I would go at 3 o'clock because in the morning I'd be in their way. The thing was about me was that I was retired, so I had time, I had 4 children. I'd be sitting there every day until midnight. And so she was the nurse, the whole staff of the oncology room. Very proactive wife. She asked everything. I'm kidding.
That's good.
And then when I didn't like it, I said, "You patient doctor," and they got there right away.
Yeah, when you're in pain like that, often
Yeah.
the patient actually does a lot better.
They didn't even like us.
Yeah. Yeah,
They didn't like us.
that's fine.
I know.
Okay. Anyone else have a question or a comment?
Thank you again, Maria. Thank you,
Thank you.
Tony.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Melvin. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Melvin's our new anchor on the water show. So we'll be on next week. All right, so should we get some books?
Yeah.
We do that? What do we do next? I don't know.
Yes, we books up here at the counter and Jenny can help check you all out and then head back to get them signed.
Okay, we'll do
I
that.
want to take a picture with everybody. Like
Yes.
stand in front of everybody and have them. I don't know, I just- Sometimes I see their
Yeah,
body.
yeah, let's do that.
I love you.